Welcome to the First Strokes handwriting programs. This is a training video for teachers and therapists. Press pause at any time to spend more time on a slide. First Strokes has 3 handwriting programs, one for preschoolers, one for kindergartners, and the other for first graders. There are 3 premises to the First Strokes handwriting program. One is that the letters are grouped by the first stroke. For example, the circle stroke letters O, A, D, G, Q, C, they are all circle stroke letters. The other premise is that it is multisensory and that it has auditory cueing, kinesthetic feedback, and also visual cueing. This is very much a motoric program where students learn to pattern the letters through large, medium, and small motor activities. Students learn to pattern letters when they are grouped by the first stroke. For example, if you teach just a circle stroke, short line down, and tall line down, the students are able to write the first 17 letters of the alphabet. These letters all start as a circle stroke, short line down, or a tall line down. Then there are 4 leaning line letters, 2 sleepy line letters, sleepy line E and sleepy line Z, and 3 letters at the end of the lowercase alphabet have their own first stroke: candy cane F, coiled C snake S, and turnaround U. The uppercase letters are also grouped by the first stroke. There are 14 tall line down letters, 4 letters begin like a tall circle stroke, 5 tall leaning line letters, and 3 letters have their own stroke. Those letters are sleepy line E, turnaround U, and coiled C snake S. There is a storybook to introduce these concepts, but there are tall letters that are cloud toppers, land lovers like Billy the Seal, and sinking or diving letters like Mr. Waldorf, the swim coach in the storybook. The handwriting lines are called the top line, the dotted line, or the writing line. We also call the spaces the top space, the bottom space, and the below space. Students learn how to pattern letters through large, medium, and small motor activities. Why do we need a motoric program? The visual motor skills for handwriting mature at about 5.5 to 6 years of age. Yet handwriting is taught in preschool, pre-K, and kindergarten. Students do not achieve top-to-bottom, counterclockwise circles, or slant patterning or sequencing without some practice. First Strokes addresses patterning through motoric practice in fun ways. For large motor activities, students might clap their hands together and practice writing the new letters in the air. They could also use a stick or a piece of foam swimming noodle to practice writing the letters in the air as well. Many teachers have students practice writing the new and previously introduced letters in the air at circle time. They emphasize that the students write the letters in the correct sequence. Next, the student should practice letters through medium motor activities, where they write the letters in large 3 to 4 inch handwriting lines before doing small motor activities. A teacher could set this up in a writing center during center time to practice letter formation in small groups. The teacher, instructor, or parent volunteer could supervise the writing center as students learn to practice the letters in the correct sequence and also touching the handwriting lines. Students can also work as a class, as a group, to be able to practice the letters medium motor through some activities. One idea might be to write the handwriting lines on cardstock and put them in a heavyweight sheet protector. The students can use a dry erase marker to practice the letters. Here a student is practicing letter A on the dry erase sheets. These are very economical for large groups. Here is an activity that a teacher might use with students in small groups or a writing center. The students would use a puncher like a golf tee to punch around the giant handwriting lines, practicing touching the lines as they draw the letters. Here is a student practicing punching out letter A, being sure to touch the handwriting lines as she writes or punches. Students can also practice punching letters on handwriting paper with a puncher. Another small group activity might be to use Coloration's liquid watercolor paint from Discount School Supply. One dip of a Q-tip into the paint will last for almost an entire page. This student is practicing letters using the Q-tip dipped into the liquid watercoloration's paint. Next, a student should do small motor work through one of our workbooks. We have a workbook for preschool, for the kindergarten program, and also for first grade. This is our preschool workbook where students trace and then try writing the letters. This is our kindergarten workbook where students trace the letter 3 times on the left side of the page. Then they practice writing the letters on the right side of the page. This is the advanced print workbook for first graders. The student then practices writing the letters on regular handwriting paper. You can purchase Zahner-Blosser paper, or also educational catalogs have paper called blue-lined, red base-lined paper. There is kindergarten ruled paper and also first grade ruled. Typically, it is best to try to get kindergartners to also practice on the first grade paper. The most important activity to get patterning and correct sequencing would be to use Scribble sheets. Scribble sheets are made by printing the printables that come with the program and then gluing them to cardstock. A student will then scribble all over the cardstock to where there is heavy wax on the cardstock. This is a beginning scribble sheet that we might give at the beginning of any of our classes for print. So it has the letters grouped by the first stroke. It has a dot for the starting point and an arrow. And so the parents know, okay, we're just going to start with circle stroke O, circle stroke A, circle stroke D, and do just the circle letters. Then after we get to the next group of the letters and the next group of letters, then they will continue to review the previous groups and then continue to learn the new letters as we go. And they can work with them on visual memory by, this should be glued down, but they would fold it down, ask them to write the letters, and then if they need help, then they can look at the letters, and then we'll close it back up. The student should write fast and large with a crayon on the scribble sheet in the correct sequence. If a student writes in the incorrect sequence, the student should continue to practice writing until they can write the letter in the correct sequence. Most of the materials come within the handwriting programs. An instructor might need to purchase a few other items. For large motor work, the instructor could purchase some swimming noodles and cut them into 10-inch sticks for the students to use. An instructor also might need to purchase some cardstock and put it in a sheet protector with dry erase markers for medium motor work, as well as some Zahner-Blosser or red base-lined, blue-lined handwriting paper for generalization skills. The procedure to use the programs would be to first read the Billy Learns to Write His ABC storybook. It is about Billy the Seal who comes home on his first day of school. He is afraid of learning to write all his letters, but Mrs. Seahorse, his school teacher, takes him to the sea gym and teaches him all the strokes that Billy needs to learn to be able to write all the letters of the alphabet. Then Billy feels much more confident about writing all the letters. The students should practice the strokes through large and medium motor activities and finally on handwriting paper. The programs have suggested modules for how to group the letters within teaching units. Each teaching unit has printable letter introduction pages that also incorporate fine motor activities on each page. The students then do large and medium motor activities and finally small motor activities within the workbooks for their age level. Students in kindergarten through first grade should practice drawing the letters on handwriting paper. Some pre-K students can do this too. Next, the most important part of the motoric program would be to use the Scribble sheets. Preschoolers and kindergartners can look at the Scribble sheet and letter cues as they practice drawing with a crayon. Students from the middle of kindergarten through first grade should practice drawing the letters with a crayon on the Scribble sheets from memory. They can fold the paper down, but then fold it back up if they don't remember a letter. The kindergarten and first grade programs also have additional workbooks with more practice sheets that can be used as homework or extra practice within the classroom. The kindergarten and first grade program includes grading rubrics to assess progress. The programs are available on USB drives through the First Strokes catalog that can be accessed through www.thehandwritingclinic.com. You can also purchase the programs as digital downloads on Teacher Pay Teachers. You would have to go to the Fine Motor store and then search for First Strokes programs. There are two types of files that can be purchased. An instructor can purchase an individual license, which allows one user to access the files for their own students. A building license allows multiple users within one building to access the program files for their students. A district would need to purchase a building license for each school or building. The First Strokes programs are extremely economical to use within school districts or in therapy clinics. For example, with a building license for the First Strokes Multisensory Handwriting Program, an entire school building could use the program for $225, period. The school would need to print their own worksheets or workbooks for the student, but this would allow all teachers within that building to be able to access the entire program. The First Strokes preschool program includes an instructor's manual, the Billy Learns His ABC storybook, letter introduction modules, and an upper and lower case workbook. The preschool program also comes with simple, printable worksheets for preschoolers or students with special needs. It has a dot for the starting point and an arrow. The student would trace the letter and then copy down below. The program comes with large tracing letters that can be used as a wall poster. They can also be printed so that students can use multisensory activities to practice tracing the letters. The students could practice repetitively tracing the letters with a crayon. They could use sponge paint. They could Q-tip trace. They could use them as Play-Doh mats, or they could punch the letters. The kindergarten program comes with an instructor's manual, the Billy Learns His ABC storybook, the letter introduction modules, and an upper and lower case workbook. The program comes with printable activities for homework or extra practice. It also comes with a grading rubric for assessment of skills. The program comes with a PowerPoint called Stop Letter Reversals Brain Breaks for the Classroom. Instructors can use this file as a PowerPoint or can print as flashcards so that students can practice writing the letters in the air. Students practice writing commonly reversed letters in the air as they go through the flashcards and the quiz. There are printable desk toppers and pencil toppers that can be taped to a desktop or pencil for commonly reversed letter cueing. The advanced print program for first graders comes with the instructor's manual, the Billy Learns His ABC storybook, the letter introduction modules, and a workbook that includes both upper and lowercase letters. It includes extra practice pages as printables either as worksheets or a workbook. It includes the First Strokes grading rubric for assessment of skills, and it also includes the PowerPoint Stop Letter Reversals brain break for the classroom. There are more training activities within the instructor's manuals that include the specific language used for the letter formation and also verbal cueing techniques used. It also includes visual cueing techniques when practicing letters in medium or small motor handwriting lines. Each letter has a specific language for each component of the letter. Printable sheets are included so that all instructors can use the same language. Students benefit the most when the language is consistent. The language is simplified when doing multisensory review techniques such as Scribble sheets. The instructor would just sing the first stroke. For example, the instructor might tell all the children to get their Scribble sheets out and then practice with a crayon. The instructor would sing, let's do circle stroke O, circle stroke A, circle stroke D, and by singing the first stroke, the students learn to write letters from memory with good sequencing and patterning. If a student gets the first stroke of the letter correctly, they are more apt to write the letter in the correct sequence. Students begin to categorize and sing the letter characterized by their first stroke. There are visual cueing techniques for medium and small motor work as well. Some students need a dot for the starting point for medium and small work. The workbook pages have cues on them. These are called starting points. Sometimes an instructor may need to put dots on medium and small motor work. So the following instruction pages will show how to put the dots for the starting point. For the circle stroke letters, the dots start below the line. Then the student traces up to the dotted line and around to the writing line to complete the circle. Some handwriting programs start circle stroke letters on the dotted or dashed line, but this may lead to poor closure of letters as students generalize to faster handwriting. For the First Strokes program, we start the letter below the line. The kindergarten and first grade program have an extra printable worksheet to cue students the starting point and then also to look at the writing line when drawing the circle stroke. Students should trace through both circles. There is an extra printable practice page for this. Many letter groups, as well as letters Z and U, start on the dotted line as a starting point. Tall letters start on the top line. Letter S starts like a circle stroke too. All lowercase letters start as a circle stroke or on the dotted or dashed line or the top line, except for two letters. Students have to memorize that letters E and F have their own starting point. All uppercase letters start on the top line, except for the tall circle stroke letters C, G, O, and Q. They start as a tall circle stroke. This concludes the training for the First Strokes program. You can find more training through the instructor's manual that comes with the programs. Let's look at the research that's been done on the First Strokes handwriting programs. Maryville University School of Occupational Therapy looked at the effectiveness of two programs for handwriting in first grade students. The study compared Handwriting Without Tears to First Strokes. The study looked at a 6-week camp with typically developing students. Both handwriting programs showed improvement in handwriting legibility, letter formation, and proportion. However, students receiving the First Strokes handwriting program improved significantly more in letter legibility and proportion than students participating in the Handwriting Without Tears program. In addition, First Strokes recorded a greater mean improvement for letter legibility, formation, and proportion as compared to Handwriting Without Tears. Texas Women's University School of Occupational Therapy looked at the effectiveness of the First Strokes handwriting program in a kids beginning print camp. This was a 2-week camp, Monday through Thursday, for 2 weeks, for 2 hours a day. Students worked on handwriting and fine motor skills during this class. All students were identified as needing handwriting intervention prior to kindergarten or first grade. At pretest, students sequenced 11.54 letters correctly. At post-test, they sequenced 20.69 letters correctly. At follow-up 3 to 6 weeks later, that number had not significantly changed and students retained the information. Students also showed significant improvements in legibility and touch points where they touched the handwriting lines as they wrote. These gains were maintained at follow-up 3 to 6 weeks after their handwriting camp. Thank you for viewing this training program. First Strokes also sells a print legibility program for students in 2nd through 5th grade, a teen through adult handwriting legibility program, a cursive program that is multisensory, and a multisensory keyboarding program.